Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Clare Cooley, author, artist, all over the place, creative that loves helping others to enjoy their creativity, to enhance their connection to their imaginations, their confidence to express it, and their courage to share it with others. It's been something I've been doing since my 20s when people asked me, 9 people in one day asked me to teach, and I embraced my fear of doing teaching, coming from not being academically educated myself, and thought, well, 9 people, they must know something I don't know. So I wrote a curriculum called Dancing into the Arts because I love mixing up creativity. Like this this live stream series, this is the second, and it is funded by grants I was awarded, and I want to thank the Minnesota State Arts Board and the National Endowment for the Arts for this granting me this opportunity to hopefully help you follow your inspiration and turn it into something you can share with others to feel that fulfillment and enrich the world. The world needs every one of our perspectives to be whole and in balance. And too many of us are not able because of our lives, or we think we're not able because of our duties and responsibilities, because of the critical voice, the competitiveness all around us, to find what inspires us and have the organize our lives and our time so that we can create something we can share and, as I say, enrich the world. Many sensitive people, artistic types, people that have stayed in touch with their creativity, who feel a lot, are understandably timid about sharing themselves with the world, their creativity, their vulnerability, and that's completely reasonable, but it's so much, it's so worth it to face that fear and to give our unique perspective to the world, and especially the sensitive and the thinkers that are maybe visionary, maybe outside the normal. That's, I'm going to read a quote from Einstein that speaks to this as soon as I find it. Where are we, Einstein? Da, da, da. It looks like I stuck it somewhere strange and I can't find it right now, but I know that it was very close to, oh, here it is. Um, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So the world needs the unique thinkers, those of us who have followed our own instincts, our own inspiration. The world to come back into balance, we need to allow children to keep exploring their imagination, and whatever age we are, to keep developing our own creative vision, to keep sharing it with the world. So that's what these live streams are about. Every Monday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time, I'm going to be doing these. If for some reason you or your friend can't be here for the live part, then it will be up after I do it on the Creativity Show. So you can access it anytime. You can make comments, you can ask questions either during the live streams or after, and I will do my best to address any question, any comment people offer me. And I really appreciate them. I really appreciate you being here. I really hope that you will tell your friends. Part of being an artist is we're sensitive. And if we're sensitive and introspective by nature, I call myself the friendly recluse because I've always spent 90% of my time in solitude creating. So I'm not a socially motivated. I love the world. I love everybody and everything in it. But most of my work is in solitude. So I'm not good at self promoting, and I'm probably never going to be much better than am now. So I really appreciate it when people tell their friends and share. I wrote my memoir because many people asked me to, saying my stories help them. So I really appreciate you helping me to help others by telling them about it, by sharing it with them. So thank you for doing that. I really do sincerely appreciate it. It's what keeps me going through all my doubts and fears that I have, like everyone else, is knowing that there are people I have helped and people I can help by sharing my truth, my experience, my authentic uh, experience of, well, as my title of my memoir, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness, says, I've had darkness that I needed to rise above, and turning um, my you know challenges into creativity, turning my adversity into advantage by making it into art means I don't have to regret any of it. As difficult as some of it was to go through, I have no regrets that I went through. Um, Being able to get stronger by rising above it and help others is is a gift. And we can do that with our challenges, is turn them into gifts that we can give ourselves by healing and give others by sharing them. So this series of live streams is hopefully going to inspire and help and motivate you to find what nourishes your spirit, to find what inspires you, and to organize your life and time and your attitude to complete something that you can share and feel that deep satisfaction, that wonderful feeling of completing something that was a dream that you made real, a book, exhibition, a musical performance, dance, whatever it is, combining all of them, whatever it is that inspires you, and you step into your creative flow when you're working on it, increasing your happiness. Anytime we increase our happiness, we're increasing happiness in the world. So that's a beautiful thing. And sharing it with others, showing people the results of increasing your happiness, expressing your emotions, stimulating your immune system, healing yourself, being your own sacred witness by painting it, drawing it, singing it, writing it, whatever works for you. Being an example of that for others is a beautiful thing. The fulfillment we get can be exponentially expanded when we share it with others. So the practical part of, once we've discovered something, by exploring, just keep exploring things that you're curious about, that inspire you until you find something that you really feel your imagination ignite. And then figure out a way to organize your life and time, even if it's 5 minutes a day. There's another quote here that I'm going to read because it speaks to that. Um, where are they? Over. Well, maybe it's not among these quotes, but we can. Where's the wild? Hmm. I'm. Oh, there it is. Paul Gauguin. Stay firmly on in your path and dare be wild 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day is sometimes more than I had in my life for my wild creative exploration. There were times in my life, taking care of my mother and my two nephews alone, where I had 5 minutes a day, but I kept going. I kept creating. I never abandoned my own happiness, my own inspiration in life, and whatever our circumstances are, we can find even little bits of time to keep going. And that's what's important. And as Kogan said, if you have 2 hours a day to be wild, you're a very fortunate person. If you have any time in your life to explore your own inspiration, that makes us fortunate. So go for it. So once we have created something, or as we're creating something, as we're making the choice and commitment to complete creating something, we need to be thinking about that we can promote it. And in these live streams, I'm going to talk about the 6 different promotional categories: social media, search engine optimization, content creation, press, events, and personal contacts. So this particular second live stream here, we're going to get a little depth on social media. There's so many options in social media, but let's read 14 of them. Social media platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Snapchat, Discord, Patreon, WhatsApp, Messenger app, and each platform has different ways to promote. We use Facebook to promote our work, where we can create a group and invite people to join that group, create a page and invite people to like it, and create an event like this and invite people to RSVP. We can create a live stream on that page, which is just what we're doing right here, which is what we did, and also put up a live stream on YouTube, not just Facebook. And some people pay to boost their specific posts and to target a specific audience, and it increases the reach wherever you choose to, pay for basically a boost in the reach of your posts. I haven't chosen to do that. One of my dreams, ambitions is I faced my fear, my shyness. Believe it or not, I'm very, very shy. I do this because I believe it's good for me and it's good for other people. So I face my fear about getting in front of a camera, about speaking my truth, about shining, which every woman in this world that's been sexist a long time and still is afraid to shine, because if we show confidence, who does she think she is? We can hear, and I have heard. And, we're afraid to be beautiful because of jealousy, lust, and greed. We're afraid not to be beautiful because no one will pay any attention to us. But we're so much more then our exterior, we're whole people, and we are worthy, and our nature is something that the world needs. And men can be nurturing and women can be assertive. I don't believe in the down the line difference between men and women. I've known very assertive and aggressive women. I've known very gentle and nurturing men. I try to be a whole person, and I think that is a worthy ambition. Someone who can speak their truth and be confident, even though as a woman we know we're going to be put down by other women and loathed by insecure people, male or female. But it's not about them, it's about us. It's about us knowing that we're given the best we have, because that is extremely heartwarming. So give the best you have. Every one of us has a unique perspective. Every one of us has our own experiences. And I read the quote from Louise Bourgeois last week about tell your own story and you will be interesting. Yes, everybody's stories are interesting if we are telling our truth, because our perspective is our own and we have things to share and teach and enrich the world with. So speak up, tell your truth, share it, and yes, face the fear of being criticized. I have had to face a lot of fear to write. As those of you who've seen my live casts or my live streams or read my book know, I stopped participating in school regularly at 7. I didn't read a book till I was 21. I didn't watch movies. I didn't watch television. I didn't even look at magazines. I had my own instincts that to be in nature where things were in balance and there was no disrespect and there was no malice. That's where I was comfortable. And creating is what replenished me. So that's what I did with my time. And so when people ask me to write my stories, how could I write? I barely read. I've barely gone to school. But I trusted that they were speaking their truth, and so I wrote a story, and on Friday I started it. On Monday I took it to my only writing workshop of my life. I read it, and in the room people were moved, and the beautiful person, writer, Le Coutier's, whose workshop it was, said, you have what all writers want, your own voice. And I thought, well, I guess I'm gonna write my book, and I did. And I have heard things like, what makes you think you can write a book? You can't even write a sentence. And I had to do it because I knew it was courageous, it was going to be self-healing, and it could help others, and so I had to face that fear. And people that say things like that often later say really warm and wonderful things, the same person. But when people say things like that, hurtful things, it's about them. It's not about us. And we not only have to just step past it, let it go, but forgive them. It's it's their insecurity that would get them to say something like that. So forgive them that they don't have the courage to be kind. Kindness takes courage. Cruelty is, well, cowardly. So step up, be kind to yourself, allow yourself to do what makes you happy. And I'd like to ask Bodhi to read something now.
Hey there. All right. Yeah, I was thinking of reading the introduction
Okay.
for your memoir,
Okay.
Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. Hello, everybody. And you can hear me out there? Can you hear me, Mom?
I can hear you. Yes.
Good. Great. Hey, Meg. Meglitz said, thank you for being authentic and courageous.
Thank you. Thank you. You're so welcome. You too.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. All right. So, the introduction. You saved my life. Mike's words stunned me with the realization that sharing my own story of rising above challenges had helped him rise above his own. Not sure what to say, I gave him a long hug. As the tourists crowded around to take pictures of us skate dancers, I recalled the many times I had heard similar things. I am aware now that telling my story is a way to heal myself and help others. Many have suggested I write my stories to share with others because hearing them helped them stay hopeful. This literary journey set my course on facing my enormous fear of exposing my deep vulnerabilities. A judge dating my friend once asked, her story could have been from a woman on death row. How did she end up so nice? Perhaps it is because I believe we are not what happens to us, but what we do with it. Once, an 8-year-old girl was secretly listening in as I read one of my personal experiences to a friend. That evening, the girl asked her mother to invite me to dinner. The girl took me on a tour of their house and, after some time, shared the story of her own assault. I was the first person she had ever told. She felt ashamed of what had happened to her and was confused because her abuser had been a friend. I told her it is confusing, but if we admit it happened, it need not have power over us, and what we get through makes us stronger. With bright confidence, she said, I knew you were the one to tell. I came to see that all it took for her to share her sad secret was hearing that I went through a similar betrayal of trust. Healing can be that simple and sweet. Whenever we tell our truth, even if just to ourselves, we can gain perspective, strength, and healing, a gift we can give ourselves and others. A woman who asked to read some stories passed them to her sister. The sister called to tell me her husband was a better person after she came home and found him in the backyard weeping after reading them. I started to understand it would be selfish not to share them and began the arduous work of writing and publishing my stories. Recalling the adversity I have overcome has been difficult, but worth it for my healing. Hopefully, I can assist others on their journeys. On the way here, I have been without my own home. I have lived in a tent, a teepee, in my tiny Renault. I spent a year in an RV and even once lived in an abandoned building alone. I started my first job at 14, delivering newspapers on my bicycle. After that, I flipped burgers and served milkshakes as a car hop. I was a receptionist. I sewed in a factory, cleaned houses, made custom clothing, and painted trees. I made sheepskin coats, loaded ships, and then became a janitor. I waitressed, framed pictures, and managed a restaurant. I now sell my art, teach, and have become a creativity coach. My childhood was heavily influenced by my father's brutality fueled by alcoholism and my mother's saintly, generous spirit hampered by her severe illness. The dynamics of my dysfunctional family resulted in no one noticing I stopped attending school regularly at 7 years old. I survived a sexual assault that made me a mother at 16. As an adult, I endured a 14-year-long divorce from my ex-husband, an attorney, who had total control over all of our assets. This book endeavors to share how I waded through the most difficult of times and triumphed to thrive in a lovely home filled with my serene art and decor, working joyously with my movie-making son, Bodhi. I set out to transform my post-traumatic strength into post-traumatic. I set out to transform my post-traumatic stress into post-traumatic strength and give my pain a higher purpose. It would be a great honor to encourage others to do the same and turn their adversity into advantage. My art is inspired by a desire to contemplate natural beauty. My hope is to portray nature's splendor and mystery to help us come back into balance with our precious world. My love of cranes took me from my self-taught art to meeting all 15 species of cranes in person, and then having my art and writing published by Pomegranate Art Books in the Book of Cranes. Being asked to teach my own curriculum, Dancing into the Arts, to every grade level of the public schools at universities, drug rehabilitation centers, psychiatric hospitals, crisis shelters, juvenile halls, and with the participants of mental health and drug courts, ironically taught me how to be a student. When we listen, feel, express honestly and respectfully, we can connect and learn and teach. I believe continuing to learn is the best way to teach, which is why I think of myself as a guide. While guiding others in multimedia creativity, I experience what I believe to be true. We are all creative. The duality of dark and light is the thread that runs through the fabric of life, which is reflected in all my art forms. I have learned from working with therapists, probation officers, lawyers, judges, nurses, and many other types of groups and individuals that the fortunate have their imaginations nurtured. A few stay connected to it, and many lose touch with it in this often critical world. As a creativity coach, it is my duty and privilege to guide people home to themselves. There, they rediscover joy, the life-enhancing resources of imagination and creative expression, and they can heal. Through my wide variety of jobs, I have observed that everyone wants to be heard and treated respectfully. Across all walks of life, from stressed corporate executives to patients on their way into electroshock therapy, I saw the healing power of allowing people to express themselves. When the patient chose not to do shock therapy after our session and continued improving, I became committed to the work. Seeing the profound positive effect of self-expression through creativity gave my life the focus to assist or inspire people to enhance their connection to their creativity. I watched a kindergartner try a new art for the first time and feel pure joy. I saw adults access the same sort of inner happiness. A doctor who began my creativity retreat with doubts and resistance said at the end, "I have not had this much fun since kindergarten." One participant realized they needed to quit their unsatisfying job to pursue their artistic passion. Helping people from all backgrounds reconnect with their creativity has shown me the immense value in simply enjoying our imaginations. It is deeply satisfying and a privilege for me to give a gift that can keep on giving. May the words and chapters that follow help you or someone you care about remain hopeful, survive, and thrive in this beautiful world with all its uncertainties and challenges. We are not what happens to us, but what we do with it. And that was the introduction. Well written, Mom, if I do say so.
Thank you, thank you. I was thinking about while you read that I did not think of myself as a writer. I did start writing poetic prose before I had ever read a book as a way to be my own sacred witness, my own therapist, my own friend. The writing was a healing place for me, but not until my book of cranes, the publisher said you should write it, and I faced my fear of writing without any academic training or even being literate. Literate like meaning having read books, I listen to a lot of books on audiobooks, and I listen to public radio, especially Terry Gross, on the luminaries that she interviews as much as I can. I try to learn from every person I meet, but I really had to face a lot of fear to write and put it out there to the world. And we all do have to, even if we're consummately classically educated, we still have to face fear, because the world is full of competition and criticism, and we cannot help but take some of it in, and sometimes we don't even know it's not our own voice. It started with someone else saying something extremely hurtful. But we all have to face it. And I will be honest that writing my stories, there are some really harsh stories in my life, being set up to be sexually molested when I was 16. My father basically maybe gave this predator the idea or permission, because my father was in the room when it happened. So that's some pretty rough stuff. And I will be honest and say that even rougher than forgiving the man who raped me and my father for giving him permission, or maybe the idea, or definitely not protecting me, harder than that to forgive, because I saw them as very broken people that I could feel compassion for, as well as the hurt and rage that I did feel at the time. But it's harder to forgive the people that I thought I could trust that blamed me for it. And when you admit having been a victim, there are people that will try to shame and blame you. It's a very sick human thing that happens, and how I have come to forgive those people is to accept that they do not have the courage to acknowledge that terrible things happen to people that did nothing to deserve it. They want to believe that they could prevent such a thing, or their loved ones could prevent such a thing. But I wasn't drinking, doing drugs, hanging out in dubious places. I was in my own home living room, and all I did was answer the door. And that, being a victim, no matter what your circumstances, if you didn't agree to what's happening, it's not your responsibility that it happened. And people want to blame the victim so they can feel safer in the world. So it's not about you that they blame you, and I had to figure that out. It's about them. They don't have the courage to know that random cruelty can happen, and we should never blame or shame the victim that it happens to, but the responsibility is on the victimizer. And I've had to hear from someone in my own family that I was looking for the adrenaline rush of the excitement. Wow. But I forgive that person, and I don't name the people that say cruel things to me, because I have no interest in gossip. I have no interest in hurting them back. I don't feel that way. I only speak of these things as a teaching tool for others. Yes, if you have the courage to be honest, to step up, there will be people that don't have the courage to admit cruelty happens to people that didn't deserve it. did nothing wrong, nothing to bring it on to themselves, and find the courage to realize that, to accept that, and be compassionate, not cruel, because it must really, as hard as it is to get over having been raped, imagine how hard it is to get over having raped someone. So I don't hate them. I don't carry any malice for those who have blamed me incorrectly, cowardly, blaming, shaming of victims. I feel compassion for them, but it's their duty to figure out their own confusion. And I hope they do. And much more profound for me is the kind things people say. And Bodhi, would you read? I pay very little attention to as little attention as I can to social media, so I don't get trapped in, if enough people don't like it, I'm not worthy. I don't want to go there, so I pay as little attention as I can to
Sure,
thanking
of course.
people to
Yeah,
acknowledge me.
I've
Bodhi,
got a few things prepped. I said it would be a great idea to read your most recent review. And on that note, there are a few questions. We're going to get to the question and comments right after this.
great.
Anybody who's got the book or has read it, we'd love it if you'd take the time to go to Amazon and give it a review, or Goodreads. That really helps. So speaking of which, I will read one of the reviews from an anonymous reviewer. 5 stars, beautiful read, and the review says, beautiful story that takes you through the ups and downs and at times trauma, but just like the title says, you can rise above. I thought that was really nice.
Can people hear me?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I just wanted to comment on that before you read these others. That's what keeps me going. So the cruel, cutting, hurtful things that do hurt at the time I hear them, they don't really stick with me other than as a lesson, and an opportunity to forgive. What sticks with me is the kindness of this complete stranger who I'll probably never know who said that, but that stays in my heart. The rest passes by.
Good. Well, that's enlightened for you to let it just like water off a duck's back. And there it is on the screen there. Thank you to whoever left that review. And thanks to all the other people who have. And I'm going to read, I think it would be great to do the quotes about the author section in the front matter. And then we got some comments to address.
Okay.
Alrighty, I'll close your video feed, so in case you need a break, you need to take a few sips of water. We got 2 pages here. Okay. Quotes about the author. Clare Cooley's true life story is a riveting and intensely textural journey of amazing adventure, profound creativity, and punishing endurance through unimaginable life events. Cooley is fueled by her amazing spirit, artistic exploration, and an outright will to thrive, not just survive, over a lifetime of extreme challenges. Although her story is harsh and disturbing at times, it is also filled with beauty, inspiration, and life lessons for all. Mark Eveslog, Emmy Award-winning cinematographer. I am delighted that Clare Cooley is publishing her book of life stories. Reading her stories, my response is, wow! As a writer, she has her own unique and articulate voice. Her collection of stories is an entertaining and empowering must-read. It is a dramatic story of a person rising above tremendous obstacles using creativity. The subject matter is timely and can help many Clare Kirsch, publishing industry veteran, right here in Duluth. Incandescence is the transformative book of our times, taking us from a dark and hopeless state to an iridescent and wondrous awareness born by loss and humility, infused by a profound connection to the natural world and forged by love's indomitable spirit. Sumner Madison, author of A Field, Portraits of Wisconsin Naturalists, Empowering Leopold's Legacy. And I believe we got a comment from Sumner as well. Hey there. If it is possible to turn one's life into a work of art, Clare Cooley surely has done this. Born with extraordinary gifts, Clare has also faced extraordinary odds, but met them with truth, beauty, and unrelenting courage. May she be an example of grace under pressure, and may her memoir inspire you to live your truth and always, always remain true to yourself. The wisdom in Clare's Incandescence is a guiding light for us all. Brenda Knight, author of Random Acts of Kindness. Clare Cooley gives her stories to help, heal, whether on a personal level or collectively. Her kind, strong, and truthful voice shines through as brightly as her works of art. Lisa Fitzpatrick, director of the Motion and Media Cross Disciplines Lab and the Viz Lab at the University of Minnesota, Duluth. In one of my favorite Star Trek episodes, Darmok and Gillard at Tanagra, Captain Picard is stranded on a planet with an alien that communicates through storytelling. My mother's natural way is like this alien, communicating stories from her unique life relevant to the conversation. I have seen the effects of her stories that they have on people, and I've heard many of them say they helped them. Some claim they have saved their lives. My mother's stories are engaging, authentic, sometimes difficult, and always entertaining and important. I am inspired to share them through my art, cinema, and adapting them into an episodic series. Bodie Werner, movie maker, Star Trek reference, of course. Some who are assaulted lose gentleness, but not Clare. Josephine Landor, artist. No one can go through what Clare has without being profoundly affected. She transformed it into depth. Jonathan Rice, co-founder of KQED, Public TV SF. Clare keeps challenging herself, which is why she has so much to share. Walter Landor, founder of International Design, Landor and Associates. Some rely on beauty and are selfish. Clare has stayed beautifully selfless. Madeline Pitts, designer. All right, bunch of lovely quotes. I'm honored to be among them. Let's bring her back.
Hey, so you can see why the confused cruelty doesn't. We don't have to let it stick to our minds or hearts. We don't have to let it cloud our enthusiasm. When we share our hope, beauty, our struggle, our rising above our difficulties, our process, our challenges, our authenticity with the world, people are moved. We're all made out of the same stuff, and we all suffer. We all hurt at times, and so giving others a way to see what you've been through and what you've accomplished, which is getting through it, gives them hope and sometimes ideas on how they can face their stuff. So it's generous, and it's selfish not to share what we've learned. So face the fear of speaking up, especially for women. Face the confusion of the world and know what you know. And I know a few things. One is that nothing is more important than love. So there you go.
Would you like to answer a question?
Sure.
Great. So, Sue Spencer wrote, a friend of mine just finished writing her book and has a publisher. Do you have any advice on promoting her book? It's about her mother and experiences of being a veteran in northern Wisconsin. Interesting stories and photos.
Yes, well, the first thing I would say is sometimes people, if they're new, think a publisher is going to do a whole lot more than a publisher does. Publishers get sometimes the book properly edited, sometimes they get it printed and distributed, but they generally don't do much more than that. So don't go into it thinking they're going to promote it. They expect the author to do that. So come up with a promotional plan. Some people, go to bookstores and do readings. Some people, like I've got a previous grant to read excerpts from my book. At some point, I will do book signings. At some point, I will do events. I've always had home exhibitions in my studio home, so I'll get back into that at the proper time. I don't think it's here yet, because I feel very good about staying safe and not passing COVID. It is getting better, but it's not over. And so you have to accept that promoting your book, getting it out there. Now, some publishers, depending on how big they are, how big they think your book is going to be, if you've got previous books that sold well, they may have a promotional fund budget that goes in. You can even get an agent that does that, and some of them you pay up front, some of them you pay a percentage of sales, but somebody's got to do that. And so that's the first thing I'd say is don't assume, ask questions. What is the publisher going to do? Do they have funds for promotion? Do they expect you to do it all? So just ask a lot of questions, and there's so much out there on the internet to research. I am learning how and sharing, and because my son asked me to work with him, and named us Mother Son Productions, and has all these technological skills, we get to make these videos, and we made the creativity show YouTube channel. And so that's my promotional plan, is to just keep putting it out there, and one person tells another. And I mentioned this earlier, for me, I'd love it to be grassroots. I'd love to not pay for advertisement and getting it boosted. I'd love to, for many reasons, I'd love to have the experience of people wanting to help each other. And so one person who was helped tells another person who might value the help, and it grows that way and restores some faith in humanity being there for one another. So that's my thing. So she needs to come up with her own way and keep learning and keep watching the people that are doing things that she admires, that have success that she seeks, and learn from them.
That's great. And another question we got is, what do you feel is your most successful promotional campaign or tactic?
Well,
Trying to find the exact. wording. Yeah. What do you think is the most successful way you've promoted your book? Okay.
Gosh, I think that I'm very grateful for receiving grants to do live stream. Previous grant for live streams, live reads from my book, and now this grant for talking about how to find what you want to create and how to promote it. And then I have yet another grant that I just received for reading more excerpts from my book. So that's really powerfully wonderful. And that's, I'd say, what I'm most proud of and feel is very successful. And this getting these videos out there, and I have never hired a promotional person, an agent. I'm open to expanding the team now and having someone who's good at that, because I'm not good at that and I don't have the time or inclination or personality or interest in learning how to promote my book, other than I'm really motivated by the idea of helping people. So talking about that and sharing that, I think, has been my most successful promotional. Being authentic. I wrote it to help people, so help me help them by telling them about it. And I've said this before, but if someone can't afford the book, which has over 60 pieces of art and 40 all color photographs and art, so it was expensive to print. So it's, it's just under $25 on the internet, but I think it's worth it with 100 color pieces of art and photographs in it. But if someone can't afford it, there's the black and white that's a little cheaper. There's the ebook, and there's also, if they can't afford those, let me know, and I'll figure out a way to get them a book. Because I did put it out there to help people, and so the further it goes, the more it helps, the better I feel. So that's my promotional campaign, because it's true. So do something authentic to you so you can stick with it. And
Great. I have another question here.
Yeah.
From Sumner Madison. Would you recommend using Facebook as a way to promote a book?
Well, it's basically what I'm doing. And I have, noticed that people prefer very personal, not business stuff on. Now my book, personal, it's my life, it's my art, it's my person, it's what I believe in, it's who I am. But it may appear to be business for people. And I've noticed that, a pretty picture of the fall leaves can get a whole lot more response than mentioning something that I'm doing as far as being an artist and having something to promote. But I'm gonna stick with it, keep trying to connect personally, because I do art because it is my spirit, my passion, who I really am, and I share it from my person. Art has never been about making money for me, though I, for the first time in my life, would like to make a lot of money, because I have some really, I think, great ideas on how to help others in the world. And money would really help me do that. So, and the more I sell, the more people I help. So it's all connected now for the first time in my life. But I've never come from making money from art. It is it's who I am, psychologically, spiritually, socio-politically. So there we go. But
And then we got another question from Sumner, which I can chime in a little bit on. How about a public radio appearance as a way of promoting one's book? And you can speak a little bit to, one of the recent interviews that you did. You've been on some podcasts, but you've also been on public radio with KUMD. They changed their radio station name since then. I will look up what that is and get you guys that link. But yeah, you could speak about that.
I'd love to. For a long time before COVID and before it became it publicly, mass acceptance on the deleterious effect that driving and carbon in the atmosphere is having on weather and the planet. Long before that, I wanted to create a ecological, economical way of reaching people, and that is through the internet for me. And so I'm very much about, doing podcasts, doing Zoom classes, doing anything, sending these videos out and doing interviews where I don't have to get in a car and drive somewhere and contribute to pollution. During this COVID time, my son and I have realized that we can be happy and do everything we need to do without getting into a vehicle. We take, 3-mile walks every day in this gorgeous neighborhood we get to live in, and go down to the lake, go out into pure wooded area, uninterrupted nature in walking distance through beautiful historic buildings. And once every 2 weeks, our fresh food is delivered. And so we literally don't have to get into a vehicle to do everything we need to do. Not that I won't again, I'd like to again, but I've really been delighted to discover a silver lining of the COVID cloud is to see that I don't have to drive places to be happy and to have a full life and to feel connected. I feel very connected to people through the internet when they respond and when they show up and they ask a question and they make a statement or they put up a post, and I feel connected. I feel like, I can feel them. We don't have to drive to each other to feel love for one another. So I'd love to do radio and all of that.
Yeah, and showing on the screen here in a moment. This is the OWC radio podcast by Serena Catania, the co-founder of Sundance. We put out a press release to multiple news organizations and podcasts and people we knew with, periodicals and audiences to get her interviewed. And so that's how we got that podcast. And then the North 103.3 radio station did a feature on her interview about her book. You can listen to both of those. I put both of those on the screen.
Thank you. And then Perfect Day Duluth, is that the name of that? Did an article fairly.
I believe it's Perfect Duluth Day.
Perfect Duluth Day did an article fairly recently. And so yeah, I love that way of connecting with people, walking lightly on the planet, but connecting with people. And most people have a phone or a computer, or they can go to the library that has a computer they can use. So I feel like anybody, no matter what their circumstances, even a homeless person could go to the library and we could connect. And having been a homeless person at times in my life, I don't mean to laugh at that. It just sounded funny. I have a real desire to be available to try to help any and everybody. So.
Yeah. Cindy Brewer said, "Greetings from your audience in Tucson."
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to read another Albert Einstein quote here, and then we'll go back to that. Albert Einstein said, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination." And I also, kind of a non sequitur, but everything's connected really, is this stencil. I did this scarf yesterday to go with this shirt that I did fairly recently with this, and I did these note cards with this stencil that, being artists, being creatives, it is important to try to be creative about how you sustain yourself and how you share your work. So these stencils are going to be SVG files, scalable vector graphics that will.
How about I zoom in a little bit? I put the Etsy link on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stand next to it.
Yeah, bring them closer. Come a little bit closer. Sure. Yeah. Yep.
In the shirt. So I think this is another way to turn art and creativity into a little revenue stream, making my stencil designs available for sale. And one thing supports another. So hopefully this will help me to be able to afford to keep helping other people through the stories and the books and the other ways of getting my art out there. So my hope, my art is an expression of my hope. Creating is my form of prayer. So, and my prayer is for peace for everyone everywhere. So I think it's time to wrap it up. And other than if you wanted to tell people where they can get it, or you
Yep, I can do that, and then you'll thank the grant.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everyone who tuned in. You can get Claire's memoir, Incandescence, Rising Above Darkness, on Amazon or anywhere they sell books. Ebook, there's a black and white version of the paperback. There's also a full color version of the paperback. On the video here, you can see, go to incandescencebook.com. Something happened here. I think, oh, my computer froze for a second. Yeah, go to incandescencebook.com to see all the different formats and to see multiple places where you can get it.
I think you're holding the book upside down. Are you? No.
No.
It's backwards.
Yeah. What? Maybe there's a way I can mirror. Watch this. Here we go. I mirrored it. There we go. Silly me. Okay. So you can get her book at the QR code on the screen right now. And for those of you who've already got the book, please consider going and dropping a review on Amazon.com or Goodreads. So incandescencebook.com is a great place to get it. Also, consider checking out her YouTube channel, The Creativity Show on YouTube. Subscribe there. That helps. And if you want to learn more about her art, get some of her art at clarecooley.com/shop. Great. Thank you guys so much. All right, I'm going to leave it to her to wrap it up.
Thank you for being here. And please tell a friend and send me some comments, suggestions, questions, we'll cover in the next live stream, Monday 11 CST, Thursdays at 11 Central Time, and really appreciate you being here, and thank you again to the Minnesota State's Art Board and the National Endowment for the Arts for giving me the grant award to do these live streams. I hope there's something here that helps you, and let me know what you'd like to see more or less of, what you'd like me to address, and we'll keep going, hoping that we get to every one of your questions and suggestions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.